What is the difference between successful people and not successful people? What I found out after working with more than 400 nurses from Romania, helping them to start a new life in Germany, is that there's really one big thing that actually divides the winners from the losers. Thing is, last year my team and I took a closer look at all the nurses from Romania we worked with until then. All the nurses who already had moved to Germany and also the ones who already left again. And we looked at our notes that we took at the interviews back then, and we also asked our German teachers and our integration team and everyone who was in touch with these people during the whole process. And the results were very, very interesting, because there's one thing that all successful people had in common. And that was having a clear vision or goal. This is the basis. You might have heard this already often before. Your parents might have asked you a lot of times, what is your goal in life? Or maybe your teacher, your friends or other people ask you that question. And often people around us even tell us what our goals should be. You should become a lawyer or a doctor, you should found a family, you should get children, you should become a caring mother, all these things. But all that is really not the same as when you know what your goal is, when you define that goal or vision. And I come later to that and show you a very easy way how you can find and elaborate your very own vision. It's a simple but very effective tool I will give you. But first, to make more clear why a vision is so important and how it can support you, let me tell you a little story from a guy I met some years ago and who's guiding boat trips, you know, this kind of rafting on wild rivers where you have rocks and trees and everything, and where you really have to take care to not fall off the boat. And what he told me was very interesting and is a great analogy for life, I think. He said, people who are in a boat on a wild river with a lot of obstacles in it, they tend to focus on the dangerous parts of the river. They focus on not hitting the next rock or tree in the water. And what happens is that they often hit a rock or tree sooner or later, because they are driven by anxiety and they only look to the next thing in front of them. They're insecure and they only focus on the dangerous parts. And then he said, what I do when I guide a boat trip is what I call the positive point. And the positive point is I will never point at a tree, I will never point at a rock, I will never point at the bad rapids that we can't get. When I point, it's always going to be a positive point. I'm going to point where we need to pedal our asses off and get to it, so everything will be fine. And that is actually a thing we all should do. We should never point at anything wrong or bad, but we should always point where we want to go. And what a great lesson for life. I mean, we are spending so much time trying to avoid things that we don't want, and what happens is we run into them over and over again. So when you have a vision, when you have a clarity of where you are going, when people say they don't have time, or they are overwhelmed, or they are too busy, or there's just too much complexity in their life, for me, you don't need a time management program. You need more clarity of where you are going. And that means to know what to say no to. I mean, we live in a world filled with stuff coming at us every second. We have smartphones, we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook. We are available at every second. We have to learn to say no. And by having your vision, the thing you say yes to, you get the ability to what to say no to. And let me give you a real life example from one of our candidates, and then you really see what I mean when it is so, and why it is so important to have a clear vision. It's about one of our candidates. Her name is Alexandra Nicola, and it is more than a year ago when I myself conducted an interview with her in Bucharest. And back then she worked as a nurse in a hospital and was interested in going to Germany to start a new life there. Or, sorry, she wasn't interested, she was actually decided to do that. Because she said to me, when I asked her about her goals, she said, I want to go to Germany to become a head nurse in a hospital in the neonatology section. I was like, what? Wow, this is a very precise answer. And not only that, it is also a very self-confident answer. I mean, She didn't say, I want to become a nurse on neonatology section. She said she wanted to become head nurse. She didn't mean or think that she would become right away head nurse after she arrived in Germany, but that was and is her vision in life. This is what she wants to achieve for herself in her life. And the way she said it to me, looking me straight in the eyes, in that second I knew that she will succeed. And actually now she's in Hamburg since around 8 months, working in a highly reputed hospital, and I can tell you she is succeeding right now and every day and enjoying her life. And I can assure you that her way was not an easy one. She has family with a small child whom she got to Hamburg later, and she needs to deal with all the stuff and new colleagues around her and so on. But she succeeds because she is looking towards a goal and not backwards to a past life. She's not running away from something, but she is stepping towards something. And this is making a huge difference. And dear Alexandra, I hope you are all fine and that it's okay that I share your story here. So how can you find your vision? I know that some people never find it really in their whole life, and of course neither I or someone else can and should find it for you. Only you can define what your goals are, but what I can do is I can assist you with a little, let's say, with a trick. And the trick is that you actually have to look backwards to your life sometimes before you start looking forward only. Sounds a little weird maybe, but just wait a second. Because I guess you already made the experience that sometimes it's really hard to look forward and imagine your future. We have all things going on, our stuff, job, school, relationships, whatever. So it's often a little cloudy around us, and it's hard to figure out how to escape the stuff we are living in right now. So looking forward from now is not the solution, but I also don't want you to look backwards from today into the last year or so. What I want you to do is, instead of looking forward, pretend it's a year from now, and you are looking back, and it was the best year in your life, ever. You're feeling alive, you're full of energy, you're vibrating, you can't wait to wake up in the morning. What does it look like? Rather than looking forward and thinking what your life could look like, look backwards and see what it does look like if it were the best year in your life, and let yourself feel it. So when I look backwards on the best year of my life, I know how I want to look in the mirror, I know how my relationships should be like, I know what I want to achieve in my job and so on. I know how I want to feel with my courage, my confidence. It's just a simple way to do it. So get the clarity of your vision by working backwards first and then go straight forward. Thanks a lot for watching. Seize the day and take care.